Welcome to FAQ4. This is Ms. Hadi. I'm going to go through very quickly because I only have 5 minutes. What are the geography basics I need to know for AP World History and Ancient World History? Now, there are extra resources where there are PowerPoints you can look at with more time. And I have to be very quick with my time. But the first basic things you need to know is that the world is round, and that when we are showing the world on a flat surface, we're taking a 3-dimensional globe and flattening out to 2 dimensions, 2-dimensional map. Therefore, there's going to be some distortion, which means it's not exactly accurate. When I was a young girl, it was much worse than it is now. But you should know that not all maps are completely accurate. The distances and the shapes of things don't look the same, so you have to know that. And then where things are placed on the map also reflects potentially some bias. So for example, if I was the queen of Miss Hadi Land, I might put my country in the middle because I want to signify or communicate that I think it's more important. So we should know that every map is not going to be exactly accurate, and it might reflect some bias. We should also know what a compass rose is, which tells us our basic directions. This is something that sometimes looks like a star or it has an arrow that points north. I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second. And the biggest problem that students have is they confuse west and east. Think to yourself, wee, not you. The west always comes from the left to the right, and then not east-west, not left-right. So it's not east on the left, it's west is the left one. So I'll show you. You should also know the difference between regions and continents, what oceans and seas are. And there is a basic geography PowerPoint that I shared last year that I can kind of show you quickly that you can poke around in and look around. And I don't have a video for it, but if you look at those things, you can always Google or research anything in there that doesn't make full sense to you. So when I talked about a compass rose explains what we call cardinal, which are the primary directions, north, south, west, east, which are abbreviated here, and intermediate directions. So northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. Always remember it goes wee, west, east, not east, west. So that wherever, now the north can point any direction. Wherever north is, south is opposite of that. So take a look at where north is, and then you'll be able to find out which way is south. And then it has some more information for you about prime meridians, equator, the difference between hemispheres. It tells you about other imaginary lines like the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn. It tells you about relative direction, what latitudinal lines are, what longitudinal lines are. Again, you can always Google this more at length. Then it tells you about the basic continents, but be careful here because nowadays historians often talk about Eurasia, which is Europe and Asia together because technically they're on the same landmass. And if you really want to get technical, you can even talk about Eurasia, Africa, because Africa is also connected. So if you hear Eurasia, that's what they're talking about, Europe and Asia together. This is one of the maps that you'll need to know, and this is the most important map you'll need to know. So in our class, we don't use continents, we use regions. And some common mistakes, you need to know that we don't talk about North America, the continent, in our class. We talk about North America, the region. And regions are when certain areas have things in common. For example, they all speak Spanish, or they have a certain religion, or they have a common shared experience. So for our class, North America is just the United States of America and Canada. We don't include Mexico. Instead, we put Mexico with other countries that we group together called Latin America. So pay attention to that distinction. Also notice that in Africa, we also break things up by north and west and east and central. But notice we don't call the south part of Africa, South Africa. We call it Southern Africa because there's already a country called South Africa. The Middle East, where I'm from, is also sometimes called Southwest Asia. Here that's not labeled as Europe. You have East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia. Let me repeat that. This is Southeast Asia. Remember, this is Southwest Asia because it goes west-east. And then here, not labeled, is what you might think of as Australia, but Australia with these other little islands is called Oceania. So make sure you know this. This is the map that you need to know. Okay, and then there are some other maps you can look at, and then here are some repeats of things that I mentioned earlier. Then there are some older names that you need to know. For example, Anatolia today is sometimes, well, it is called Turkey, but in the past it was called Anatolia. Bactria is what we think of when we think of like roughly Afghanistan today, and Ceylon is what we now call Sri Lanka. And Burma is what we now call Myanmar. That's not up here. So those are some basic geography things I'd like you to know before you take our class. And let me see if I can scroll back up. I've got 38 seconds. Let me see. Know this map. That's it. Okay, I hope that was helpful.